Caitlin Clark didn't receive quite as much support. She finished 9th. Angel Reese ranking low among her peers as well. Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark both performing well. Caitlin obviously has received a lot of criticism. Paige Bueckers received into the league. She has said all the right things. The WNBA is certainly riding a wave of momentum right now. Fans are going to get what they want in Indianapolis, in her city. Caitlin Clark didn't receive quite as much support from her peers as maybe some would have expected. She finished 9th in All-Star voting among guards, as voted by WNBA players. Now, she finished high enough overall that she will be one of the captains of this All-Star game. But take a look at the ranks here. The way they do this is fan vote accounts for 50% of this process. The media is 25%, and the players account for 25%. So you can see here in the voting among guards, Caitlin Clark finished, unsurprisingly, 1st among fans, 3rd with the media, but barely cracking the top 10 among her peers. And you can see Paige Bueckers, the rookie from the Dallas Wings, coming in 4th among guards, as voted by her peers, although she rated lower than Caitlin by the media. Either way, fans are going to get what they want in Indianapolis, in her city. She will be one of the captains, and I guess that's the way the WNBA does it as well. We know that the NBA has gimmicked up the All-Star game for a lot of years now, trying to find some way to generate interest. This year it is going to be the captains, the 2 top vote getters, overall, Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx. They will be picking their players, and I wonder who's going to pick Angel Reese. Wouldn't it be fun to get Caitlin and Angel Reese on the same team for a game? But we'll see what happens. Angel Reese ranking low among her peers as well. Lower, in fact, among front court players than Caitlin did among guards. And, you know, look, overall, this is a very good sign for the WNBA when we look at the All-Star voting, because there are more people voting than ever before. Caitlin Clark got almost 1.3 million votes from fans. Okay, for context, let's go back to 2023, the last WNBA season before Caitlin Clark arrived. The top 30 vote getters for this game got 1.17 million votes combined. Caitlin Clark exceeding what the top 30 players got just 2 years ago. So if you have any questions about the Caitlin Clark effect, if the TV ratings haven't impressed you, if the buzz hasn't impressed you, take a look at that. Pretty crazy when you really look at it. Paige Bueckers, as we said, fared better among peer voting and actually across the board, doing quite well. Paige Bueckers probably the front runner for Rookie of the Year. She's having a very nice season thus far in Dallas. Caitlin not faring as well among her peers, but you know what? I'm going to pump the brakes just a tad on the criticism that players are going to receive here for being jealous and salty and all the kinds of things that we talk about from time to time on this program. Caitlin is not having the greatest season so far. Of course, she had the quadriceps injury. She was out for a while. She's missed a number of games this year. She's barely played in more than half of the Fever's games to this point, and she's shooting under 30% from three-point range, 29.5% from long distance. She's shooting 39% overall, and she's averaging just a tad under 6 turnovers a game. Now, look, we have seen the moments that she's had, the sequence where she buried 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds against the New York Liberty. It's all there. The pieces are there, clearly. But due to the injury and for whatever reason, she has not really exceeded last year's performance so far this year. I predicted that she was going to be the MVP of the league, and as they are approaching the midway point of the season in the coming couple of weeks, she's going to have to step it up, or that prediction is going to look real bad at this point. But Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark both performing well. Caitlin obviously has received a lot of criticism. Paige Beckers received into the league much more warmly, and some people believe that that's because she has said all the right things that have pleased people. But either way, this might be the white people funkiest that it's gotten anywhere since Cher and the Osmonds got together. Take a look at this. People ask me, why the 70s? Why are you obsessed with the 70s? Because I grew up on this shit, my friends. Have a look at that. And I believe they're performing a Stevie Wonder song, if I'm not mistaken. We can't play the audio for you, but I'm pretty sure that they're doing a Stevie Wonder song there. And who's more equipped to do that than the fucking Osmond boys? Let me tell you. As far as Angel Reese goes, she finished 5th overall in fan voting, 10th among all voting once you factor it in, but only 12th among the media and the players. So the players actually rated Caitlin Clark higher than Angel Reese, which I think is interesting, although certainly it's deserved. But I will say, Angel Reese, Ronnie and I have debated it on the program. Ronnie has been pretty clear that he thinks that she sucks at basketball. I have defended her as having dimensions of her game that are high level. I got to a point here a couple of weeks ago where I was starting to wonder if she actually sucked or not, but she has put together an impressive streak here. Over her last 4 games, she's averaging 17 points, 17 rebounds, and almost 5 assists. And you have to give credit where credit is due. That's fucking impressive. 17, 17, and 5. And you may be saying to yourself, well, how many of those 17 rebounds a game are Mebounds? Is she just standing there rebounding all of her own misses and padding her stats? Only 6 Mebounds in the last 4 games. So even if we discount the Mebounds, she's averaging 16 boards a game over her last 4 games, and she became the first player in WNBA history to put together 4 straight 15-plus rebound games. In fact, her last game, I think she had something like 24 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's the best stretch of play that she has had in her young WNBA career, and credit to her. I hope that we end up talking a lot more on this program about Angel Reese's on-court performance and a lot less about the off-court distractions. Either way, reserves will be announced on July 6th for the game, and the game itself is slated for July 18th in Indianapolis, and I can only imagine that we'll see Caitlin Clark wearing her new Kobe Player Edition sneakers that just sold out in under a minute online. There they are. Less than a fucking minute, people snap those up. And I'm waiting for the Caitlin Clark. Where are the Caitlin Clark branded sneakers? They've got to be coming in short order. Those will probably sell out in about 15 seconds. But I'm sure you can find some on the secondary market for a price that is entirely unreasonable. Good luck to you if you're so inclined. I'd like to see some throwback uniforms at the All Star Game. I don't know. The WNBA has been around for 30 years. I couldn't tell you what these women were wearing in the 1990s or whatever, but I can tell you what they wore at Burger King when I was a kid. Look at that. Well past time for Burger King to break out the throwbacks. You're telling me you get the polyester going? Look at that right there.
Damn. God damn, that's good.
It's good shit, isn't it? You can have it your way. All right, I want it my way. Next time I go to the local Burger King, I want to see everybody decked out in that gear. Look at that jazzy hat.
Right on up. Gonna funk you right on up.
Yeah. Yeah, some slap bass right there. I'm telling you, good shit at Burger King. Wendy's had good ones. We just used to care more as a society, didn't we? The things that they would wear when you would go somewhere, you felt like you were doing something proper. It's like when you went to Long John Silver's, you get the paper hat, go in there, Brad Hamilton, when he was at Captain Hook's Fish and Chips. Remember when he was out driving around, he had to wear the pirate hat everywhere he went? I don't know. Fast food places, even the fictitious ones, tried harder back in those days. Look, the WNBA is certainly riding a wave of momentum right now. The league is about to expand substantially. We're going to have 3 more expansion teams on the way. By 2030, the league will be up to 18 teams. You can see here Cleveland coming in 2028, Detroit in 2029, and the city of brotherly and, I suppose, sisterly love is going to receive a team in 2030. And what's interesting to me is how much these franchises are going for. Because the Golden State Valkyries, the expansion team that we have this year in the league, they paid a $50 million fee to get into the league. Toronto and Portland, who are the next 2 teams on deck that will be entering the league, the price tag was $75 million apiece. But for Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Detroit, they were unfortunately a little late to the party here, and they're going to have to pay $250 million each. Now, I don't know how that maths. I know that the WNBA has never turned a profit. Obviously, we've got some folks out there who believe that that is going to change. I don't know how you justify as a business person dumping $250 million into a WNBA team, but, you know, maybe there's a reason that they're billionaires and I'm not. But the WNBA expanding rapidly by the end of this decade, you're going to have 18 franchises in this league. Well, it's July 1st, and that means only one thing. You think there's a holiday this week? You think that Independence Day is the only holiday that we're celebrating? Well, not so fast, Skippy. It is Bobby Bonilla Day. The day that Bobby Bonilla collects a check for $1,193,248.20. God damn it. There it is right there. It was not a great era for Bobby Bonilla in Queens. I remember when he came into the league with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was one of my favorite players. He was on my fantasy team back in the day. I loved the guy. The Mets decided they were going to jump in on that when he became a free agent, and didn't go so well. But they have so far paid him almost $18 million not to play since the turn of the century. 35 years, he gets a payout of $1 million. There's 10 years left. They still owe him $10.7 million. So for another decade, once a year, Bobby Bonilla just gets a check for $1.2 million. Tim, I believe that you have something you wanted to ask, sir?
This is such an embarrassment for the Mets organization, right? I mean, it's just every year you just get dragged through, the mud of just your horrendous businesses. Why don't they just buy him out? Steve Cohen, new owner the last couple of years, wouldn't you just buy him out and make this shit go away so you're not the laughing stock every July?
Yeah, it is genuinely embarrassing. And with the amount of money that it cost to sign a fucking middle reliever in 2025. Lord.
Right.
I agree with you. Just go into your pocket, pay it, and then every year you don't have it reminded to everybody in the world how fucking stupid your franchise was.
Right. Just how inept your franchise is. And it's still inept. It's crazy. I know Cohen's done a lot of things, but man, sorry, Gary Schreier and all the Met fans out there, but get a grip, man. George Steinbrenner wouldn't go for that shit.
No, the optics are terrible. It's just once a year we all get to poke fun at the New York Mets. Is it worth it to them?
Hell no.
Just fucking buy him. You owe him a little less than $11 million. I know it's easy for me to say, but $11 million can't be that much to the New York Mets. They just paid a guy $750 million to come, to their team for the next 15 years. If you got what are they paying this guy per year? Over $50 million a year for Juan Soto. The average of it. Just kick in another $10 million and make this go away.
Unless it's a salary cap thing, I'll do some work on it. Unless it's a salary cap thing, but good Lord, as you were, sir. Good to have you back on the program. I'm going to mute.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back, Tim. Although not all the news today is fun. Lost one of my all-time favorite baseball players, one of my all-time favorite sports figures. Period. The Cobra. Dave Parker passing away after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. I know that he had been in declining health for some years. I think probably going back a decade or so. Particularly bittersweet due to the fact that he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown later this month. In just less than 4 weeks, I believe. This was the Super Sky Point that I tweeted out. Anybody who's followed me knows how I feel about Dave Parker. The 1979 All Star Game from the Kingdome is the first All Star Game I remember watching. And it really captured my imagination. He threw out Jim Rice at third base from right field in that game, and he threw out Brian Downing at home from right field as well. Just an absolute bullet that didn't even bounce. Gary Carter caught it, tagged him out. I'm sad that the Cobra won't be in Cooperstown to fully experience his honor, but I am gratified that he knew he was a Hall of Famer and that he passed content in the knowledge that he was going to be in Cooperstown. Super Sky Point to the Cobra, Dave Parker. Very sad day indeed for me. And with that, I will now welcome to the program the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, Dave Parker, man, that one hit hard. I knew that Dave was not in the best of health, but still, when you get that news, it always is a stomach punch when we lose one of the heroes of our youth.
Yeah, man, it's just another one. And like you said, in my mind, my brain immediately, if you say Dave Parker, all I see in my head is I see that throw from right field in the All-Star Game. And then the other thing I think about, and this is something you and I know, is, man, we were this close to interviewing him when we were doing our podcast, but we had technical difficulties. So I remember being on the phone and he was talking, and it's like, oh wow, I was at least kind of that close to Dave Parker. So yeah, it's a
yeah, that was a near miss that we had. He was on my old podcast, the original one. I think I think back in 2017, I had him on and got to interview him. So I did, have the opportunity to meet the guy. He was very nice. Mm-hmm. And, again, we're entering an era where, not to be grim,
hate it.
But when you look at the ages of our favorite athletes, our favorite musicians, our favorite actors, mm-hmm. Just entertainers in general, the next 10 years for Gen X kids, we're going to be burying a lot of the people that were a huge part of our formative years.
It sucks. We talk about it all the time. I talk about with my friends. It sucks because it's obviously, it's always sad when anybody dies, but just on the personal level, it's just a reminder of how old we are, man. Like it's just like every time this happens, it's like, I walk around thinking that I'm 25 years old, but the reality is I'm going to be 59 in a month. And these are just reminders of how old I actually am. So,
yeah. I mean, what's going to be even sadder is in about 25 years when it's me and you and our friends that are the ones.
I hope I make it 25. I hope I make 80. I hope I make
I've got the under, Ron.
So do I.
I saw the under was like minus 400, and I still put some money. I still put some money. Nah,
No, I'll tell you, I would not do a parlay on both of us.
I wouldn't either. There's too many greasy food items have been consumed. There's no way we're both making it to 80. I am now a Kentucky Colonel. That's right. It's a thing. If you're from Kentucky, you know what this is. The Kentucky Colonels, of course, was the name of the ABA basketball team. Artis Gilmore, Dan Issel, Louis Dampier, all those guys, 1975 ABA champions. But it's a thing in Kentucky. It is the highest honor bestowed by the governor of Kentucky. And I have now sullied it with my name. It is just a hair less prestigious than it was before I received this sweet bastard here. And as I said, Colonel Sanders, move over. You've got company. And by the way, fellas, Colonel Sanders, that's all he was a Kentucky Colonel. So this motherfucker walked around calling himself Colonel for the rest of his life. I am now of equal stature. I could just start calling myself
How did this come to be? How did this come to be, Ricky?
Well, you have to be nominated by a Kentucky Colonel, as I understand it, or at least that's one route to get there. And it just so happens my girlfriend is a Kentucky Colonel, and she nominated me, and I was accepted. So how
did she become one? I mean, you're a national treasure. What how did she become one?
She is also a national treasure.
Well played.
That's how it happened.
Well played.
Yes, that is how it happened. That's how it works. You know, if you enjoy this content that you're watching, guys just talking about polls of the day and busting each other's balls, and then one of them's a Kentucky Colonel randomly out of nowhere, sign up for Ricky Cobb's Rewind, will you? It is our new bi-weekly newsletter. We've had 3 of these bad boys now, and it is getting more and more fun. Progressive. There I am with Rudy. Look at that. That never was posted on the show or on Super 70 Sports. And you can see there I am again. Not posted on Super 70s, not posted on this show. I guess you saw it on the show. Maybe not that photo, though. There I am with Aaron Boone at Yankee Stadium, and I take your questions. Look at this. I do a little thing called the Rewind. I was breaking down the U.S. Open, talking about Jim Furyk being on the program. We were talking about the conversation that I had with Curt Schilling about Pete Rose and Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame and Sophie Cunningham. And then we did a little Give Me 5 this past week. It was my
We've
5
got to do that
favorite
this
baseball
week.
movies.
Yeah, we've got to do that this week. Give me 5.
Yeah, absolutely. We're overdue. And then I'll even take your photos, like East Nash Todd here, who was Dolly Parton for Halloween one year when he was a kid, and Jeff Goldenarm Metz, one of the finest quarterbacks of the 1970s. A lot of people forget about him. We can't have that. He was a member of the Third Herd, as I recall. Of course, the Margarita mailbag. It's becoming quite a blast. You can sign up for free. You can unsubscribe anytime, but as I always say, only a goddamn fool would do that. Get over to outkick.com/newsletters. It is as simple as that. Take whatever email address you use for such nonsense. Sign up every 2 weeks. It'll drop right into your inbox. All easy peasy.